Good morning, dreamers. How are you today? Sometimes you need that first sip, for sure. Sorry I've been away for a couple days. There's just been lots going on. And my computer was being wonky. So I don't know if this is going to work or not. Um, so we shall see. We shall see. I'm so glad you're here. We've made it to whatever day this is. This is Tuesday of March break here in southwestern Ontario. March break. Not a lot of break happening here. Jimmy's catching up on some work, and Hannah's doing driver training, which is really cool. I was chatting with a friend on Facebook the other day about how did our kids get so big, so old, so whatever, and teaching them responsibility seems to be unusual, shall we say. Like, because yesterday at Hannah's class, she was talking to the teacher and the rest of the students, and she's going to be expected to put gas in the car. What? She's going to be expected to pay for insurance? What? And they're just mind boggled about all this. She paid for her driver training. That's why she got the job at Starbucks. Anyway, the whole kit and caboodle of parents just handing things over to their kids, I just think they'll appreciate it more when they have input into it. I know I did with university. If there was a time when I was missing a class, whether it was to go see my grandmother who was in the hospital or whether it was just to go to the mall, I knew how much money I was losing by not making it to that class, because I knew how much each class took the amount for tuition and books and everything and broke it all down, and I knew how much each class cost me. But that was part of growing up and learning how budgeting worked and how impactful the gifts my parents had given me throughout my growing up years. Just the fact that the lights were on, or I had pens and pencils, or being an exennial, I had a computer. It was a big honking massive thing, but it worked. And I mean, the screen was black and the letters were orange, but hey, it did what it needed to do. Word perfect. Jimmy's sitting there yesterday using Word. He's like, I hate Word. Why don't we use Google Docs? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ooh, you should have seen what I used to have to use back in the day. Anyway, I didn't go there. But I could have, because, yeah, memories. It's interesting to have your memories flood back to you. Like, I remember taking driver's ed when I was in my OAC year. So I was 19, and it was really interesting because they used to, and they might have to do this now, but we used to have a plan your route trip. And so I was a Hessler kid, and here we are driving in Galt, and I had to plan my trip. Well, now I live really close to the train bridge, and it's like you're driving up and you hit the bridge on Elgin, and it's like, oh crap, now what do I do? Right? Because I had to learn to read a map, and I had to figure out that I couldn't go straight through on Elgin. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And it was just an interesting, that's why they gave me that route, was because they didn't want me going through. They wanted me to figure this out, and I didn't. But hey, I'm thinking, how much more for a GPS driven world? Like, is this still going to be an assignment with this company? I don't know. All of those things just flood right back. And I think remembering the past and learning from it is really, really important. And yet, living there is a dangerous thing to do. To expect today's world to look like yesterday's world is really, really dangerous. And yet, it goes in cycles. We see these cycles occurring just socially and in the world with viruses and with war and with whatever. Like, we see these cycles happening, and it's they can be scary when we have seen certain things occur in the past, or the generations before us have seen them, and yet the world hasn't been warless up till now. There's been wars everywhere, every generation, every decade. And yet, for some reason, because this one has to do, there's resources that are threatened for the West. It's like, this is in a resourceful country. So because it's not a religious war or a war that is in poor third world type countries, we care more about it. The human factor is just as important regardless. And all those things cycle through me in as I wake up and as I think and as I head towards my day. Gotta get my vitamins in. And bottom line is, people matter. Every generation, every nation, every person has a story, and stories need listeners. So I'd love for you to share your story with me. Feel free to message me. I'd love to hear it. I really, really would. Tag me on something. Make your own video and tag me on it, or send me the link. I would love to hear your stories, because stories need listeners. And I'm just so grateful that you've hung out with me all these days and weeks, and you listen to what my silly brain is processing in there. Anyway, have a great Tuesday. Know that I love you. If this works, I know that it will, you'll be able to watch it. Period. Love you. Bye.